Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a vinyl update, where I'm going to talk about a bunch of records that have recently landed into this record collection back here. There's also going to be a link down there in the description where you can see a full playlist of all my vinyl videos and see every record that is in this collection. Basically get some recommendations on some albums and just kind of see the stuff that I like to listen to in my personal time. Yeah, so on and so forth. Alright, this vinyl update is going to start off with a few records that have been passed along to me. And I'm showing them to you because I generally think they're cool records, and I was happy to have them passed to me, and I'm happy to show them to you now that they are in my possession. This first one is a soundtrack, not something I usually review, not something I usually have in here, but this was a soundtrack of a movie that I actually saw pretty recently and enjoyed quite a bit. I thought this movie had a nice score to it, very heavy, very epic, the kind of heavy epicness that you would hope for in a movie of this style, a comic book movie, an action movie. And I also thought this movie had a very interesting use of pop music in its soundtrack, really kind of guiding the flavor and the emotional tone of a lot of very good and funny and emotional scenes in the film. We have the Guardians of the Galaxy double LP soundtrack. We have the original score from Tyler Bates, that is the second disc, and on the first disc we have the Awesome Mix Volume 1. I'm sort of wondering if this is going to kind of be like a recurring theme with the film, because they certainly left the film on a cliffhanger, and it's not like I think they're going to abandon the series, because from what I understand, I mean, the reviews are really great, and I enjoyed it quite a bit myself. So, I'm hoping they do end up coming out with a sequel very soon. And, and when and if they do, that they come out with another awesome mix. Quite a bit of pop music from the 60s and 70s. We have I'm Not in Love, Come and Get Your Love. We have Cherry Bomb from the Runaways. We have the Pina Colada song. Ain't No Mountain High Enough from, Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell. It's a very nice mix of pop music from that era, and soul music, bit of vocal pop too, and I mean, it's not a bad mix of tracks. I guess it's a nice opportunity to have some of these songs on vinyl, some of which are merely just singles or locked into albums that you may not necessarily care for. And if you really enjoy this film, don't see any reason not to pick it up. I was listening to the original score as well, and while I can't say that I was totally in love with the original score, on the other side, again, it's a soundtrack thing. It really doesn't have much to do with the score itself as much as it does with the soundtracks for me just enhance the visuals of a film, and to sort of listen to the soundtrack by itself for me sometimes is you're kind of just getting half of the experience. But if for whatever the reason the original score really touched you, again, it is very heavy, it is very nicely put together, it is very instrumentally dense and quite epic. So, not a bad original score or anything like that. But me, like many of you, you'll probably be more smitten with many of the pop songs on the first disc of that. And this second record, something much more classic, way more classic, passed along to me by LP Marketplace. I will put a link down there where you can check out their website. It's a place where you can essentially buy and trade used vinyl. And they passed me a VG, a very good copy, of Cream's Wheels of Fire. Man, Ginger Baker, Jack Bruce, Eric Clapton, one of the best trios in hard rock, blues rock, and psychedelic rock ever. And this is definitely one of their better LPs. White Room, fantastic song. Spoonful, amazing song. And if you are looking to hear these tracks, whether they be in the studio or live, do check this double LP out. We do sort of have a Live at the Fillmore version here on the second LP on here. But yeah, just a really great record. I'm just loving how the very shiny, sort of foil finish of the record has held up over the years. This LP definitely older than me, and I'm loving the really colorful psychedelic insides. Very nice, very wonderful. Thank you to LP Marketplace for passing this along to me. I've been enjoying the hell out of that record. All right, something I ordered around the time of Record Store Day, but I didn't get it until after Record Store Day. Dead Kennedys original singles collection. Dead Kennedys, fantastic West Coast hardcore punk band, made great music in the late 70s, early 80s. And before they disbanded, they came out with a singles collection. They had many non-album singles. But before they disbanded, they came out with a record called Give Me Convenience or Give Me Death, which basically put all these singles together in one spot. And, you know, I've always enjoyed a lot of those singles. Some of them have been some of my favorite Dead Kennedy songs. And to, you know, never be able to hear the original analog on analog has kind of been, you know, sort of disheartening. But now, you know, it's finally here and it's absolutely wonderful. These singles sound fantastic. And there's a little booklet here that comes with the whole thing. And it basically gives like a bit of a description of every single on here, and you know, not just I'm not talking about like a lyrical thing. I mean, you're really kind of giving background of the recording and the context and the story and the theme and the political tone of these singles, you know, because Dead Kennedys nothing if not an incredibly political band. And you know, pretty much all the hits are here. Holiday in Cambodia, amazing song. Look up some of these songs if you haven't heard them. Holiday in Cambodia. Not only should you look into this song, but read into what the song is about as well. Dead Kennedys, Police Truck, amazing song. We have California Uber Alice, one of their best and earliest songs, Man with the Dogs. And this is the single version. If you listen to Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables, this is a different version than that song. We have Halloween, another fantastic Dead Kennedys track off of my favorite Dead Kennedys album, Plastic Surgery Disasters, and we also have Saturday Night Holocaust, a B-side off of that. We have Bleed For Me, not my favorite, as well as Life Sentence. Maybe this is like my least favorite single of all the bunch, but it's still a fantastic set. We have Nazi Punk's Fuck Off, fantastic song. Look up this track, read the lyrics. Also, Dead Kennedys Dead. I have the original version of that. Comes with the Nazi Punk's Fuck Off armband. Too Drunk to Fuck, amazing song. And The Prey on the other side over here. And Kill the Poor, another fantastic early single from them. And on the other side we have Insight. And I think that is it. Those are the singles that come in the box set. And I've given these things a spin, and they sound amazing. Super clean, super rich, super bassy, super punchy. No complaints with the sound at all. The labeling is, you know, quite nice. It's on the Manifesto label, which is kind of the label where Dead Kennedys' work landed after they parted with their longtime frontman Jello Biafra, who had the band's work on his label Alternative Tentacles up until that point in time. The sound of these things is great. My only real issue is with the presentation of at least some of the single art. I'm not really sure if you could tell from here. Maybe if we do a little bit of a close-up and come in close. It's like they photocopied the original artwork and then just pasted it onto a white card, and you can see where the art stops and the card begins, and it happens on numerous singles over here. It happens on this one. It happens on Kill the Poor single over here too. You know, it's like, you know, it's just a, I don't know, it's just a little lazy to me, you know. I mean, these could have been, I guess, sort of photoshopped so much better, just to look nicer, or at least look more original, you know. I mean, of course we are buying a reissue here, and we know that if we buy into this thing, but, you know, you should at least try to make the single sleeves look nice, or at least, you know, if you're really going to try to mimic the original artwork, do the original artwork justice. There are singles collections that don't try to mimic the original artwork, and they're completely nice and they're completely fine as long as they have some kind of nice presentation to them. But here we have some original artwork mimicry, which is just kind of sloppy, you know, it's a little half-assed. Again, the sound is great, but I just wish the visual presentation was a little nicer. But, you know, if you love these singles, if you're living and dying by them, and you just really want an analog copy of them, I see no reason not to pick this up. I think I paid like 40, 50 bucks for it. So, there you go. Hardcore fans only. Another reissue. The Flenser. You guys know this label, experimental music label. They just put out Have a Nice Life's latest full-length LP, The Unnatural World, and they recently reissued Death Consciousness 2. Death Consciousness was recently reissued via Have a Nice Life's original label, Enemies List Records, and I don't know how that reissue went down. I don't know if the art or the presentation was that fantastic. You guys can tell me if you picked up a copy, but I am absolutely smitten with what the Flenser did on this reissue over here. Loving the matte finish on the vinyl over here. Loving the gatefold. And the vinyl itself, which I have not listened to yet, but I am familiar with this record. The vinyl itself is heavy as a bastard. So this is a really nice, well put together package. Very dark labeling, very minimal. Not really trying to overdo it in any way, at least in terms of the presentation of this. We do, in fact, have this, which comes with the record, which is a bit of a foreword and, you know, a series of just, I don't know, a bit of poetry, a bit of historical background written by a religious anthropologist who, it looks like right here, he has taught at the University of Massachusetts at Amherst for almost 10 years now, and some of what's here has been put together by him. Some of what's here are some interesting illustrations. Some of what's here are lyrics to these songs. I have not read too deep into what is going on here, but it does seem that a lot of what is written here revolves around this very interesting and obscure religious sect, if I have gathered that correctly from what I have read from this thing so far. I am looking forward to maybe sort of reading along with this and listening to the record simultaneously and just kind of see what's going on, or what Dan sort of believes is inspiring this record, or what Dan believes, Dan, one of the masterminds of Have a Nice Life, what Dan believes to have an important contextual element to this Have a Nice Life record. Excuse me. We're doing these raw. We always do them raw. So nothing new here. Nothing new here at all. You know, this is definitely something you might be into if you really loved the book that came along with Dan Barrett's solo project, Giles Corey. This definitely seems to be much in the same vein, that, you know, we're getting some really sort of eerie backstory or something that is somehow significant to the music on this record. And also passed to me by the Flenser recently a copy of the new Botanist record, Apologies. These guys are an experimental black metal outfit. Their previous releases have featured hammered dulcimer, I believe, which has led them to have a very bright tone and timbre to their songs, which also rings through on this latest record of theirs, though I'm not totally sure if the dulcimer is coming through on this LP too. Might just be some really bright synthesizers. But if you're into that old school black metal style recording and some of those old school black metal style compositions, but you're looking for something much more shrill, much more bright, maybe a little sweeter, I would definitely look into this record, 6, Flora, The Botanist, and I'm totally impressed with this. Wow. Wonderful, beautiful splatter color. Matches the shirt. Really kind of blends in with the yellow there. Looks wonderful. Really nicely put together. I spun the first side. Vinyl sounded fantastic. I can't say stylistically it's anything altogether that new for The Botanist, but I will be giving this thing another try just to see if it kind of grows on me. But, you know, if they are new to you and you are quite a fan of black metal, I do influence you to check it out. All right, moving along. Double LP, Tim Hecker, Harmony and Ultraviolet, coming ever closer to completing my Tim Hecker studio album collection. Nice, nice, nice. Nothing super, crazy or incredible about the cover art here, but it is a nice gatefold. The labeling is pretty minimal on the records themselves. Black records, white paper sleeves. Nothing too, revolutionary there, but a great sounding ambient and drone music record on vinyl. Nothing else to say other than that. You should definitely check out Tim Hecker's work if you haven't heard it already. And this is definitely one of his best records. Unquestionably one of his best records, and sort of an initial descent into the darkness that he would dabble in on LPs like Rave Death, which is another recommended record. I also loved his last record, Virgins, was my album of the year last year, if you were not already aware. So Tim Hecker, major props to him. All right. Also building up the Fleetwood Mac vinyl collection with a copy of their 1979 album Tusk. Fleetwood Mac. This record comes straight out of, I guess, one of their poppiest eras in their music. Rumors and their self-titled LP, the two records that preceded this album, are two of their most popular and artistically successful, commercially successful records to date. And sort of following those two records up, we have Tusk. And Tusk, while still very poppy in tone, in terms of just the recording and just how these songs are put together instrumentally, is much more just experimental, a little weirder, a little more off-kilter, I would say. So, if you're looking for a bit of strangeness from Fleetwood Mac's sweeter side, I would look this record up. My copy just costed $5. That's fantastic. And some interesting inner sleeve work over here. We sort of have a sleeve within a sleeve, and then another sleeve within a sleeve, and we're just getting like this really surreal imagery and just pictures of the band on a lot of sides of these sleeves. And, pretty straightforward record presentation and labeling and all that. Just one nice sleeve after another sleeve, and just a good sounding record. Again, Fleetwood Mac, if you're into pop music, check out Rumors, check out their self-titled, check out this record, and then from there I would say, even though they do have some nice records that came out in the 80s, I would say work backwards to their 60s stuff. Putting that back. All right, this next one is a hip-hop record, an EP that a favorite collaborative duo of mine from New York recently came out with. Armand Hammer. Bought a copy of this off of Mr. Billy Woods. Furtive Movements. I would say this is more for hardcore fans. If you really love Billy Woods' music, Elucid's music, and the music they've made together as Armand Hammer. This is, there are quite a few remixes on here. A few originals that aren't like their best work, but a few originals that are their best work. Quite a bit of production from Elucid. A bit of production from Blockhead 2. Not a bad collection of tracks. And most interestingly of all, nice labeling there, we do have an orange piece of vinyl. Wonderful. If you're looking for a bit of color there to add to your vinyl collection and you're into the music of Armand Hammer, no reason not to pick this up from Backwoods Studios. And finally, we have something that is not a record at all. I've recently made a trip to Australia where I did some speaking dates, 3 of which were totally sold out. It was wonderful, great talks. I was really happy to meet everybody that came down. I did end up getting some presents and CDs handed to me while I was there, CDs of Australian artists that I am planning on checking out. But this is maybe the funniest of all the things that was handed to me, and it came with a little letter on the back. Thanks for visiting us in Australia and doing this talk. This is a small token of appreciation for the time, effort, and patience you put into your personal brand. A classic prog album on an outdated medium that's practically unusable these days. Gift-wise, it's a decent to light 4, but we are sure you can find the humor in it. It should fit nicely in the red shelf behind you. Steph Stilava and @GuyMano. Twitter names right there. We essentially have Pink Floyd's The Wall on Laserdisc. If any of you are unfamiliar with Laserdisc, it's pretty much what we had before DVDs, and they never really totally caught on. But there you go. There's the camera right there. So yes, now I do finally. This was just keeping me awake at night, not having The Wall on Laserdisc, and now finally I have it. So thank you very much for bringing this down to the show. You know, it's very nice of you to share such a piece of musical history with moi. So there you go. Those are the recent additions to the vinyl collection back here. Cool, cool. I love you. We're going to talk real soon. Reviews coming. I hope you're having a nice day. Transition. Drink your water. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Try a different genre or a different band that you've never heard of before today. Be a little adventurous with your musical taste. And be nice to the people around you. Give someone you love a compliment, and give someone you don't even know a compliment too. Cool? Cool. Anthony Fantano. Music. Vinyl. Forever.